Hi Anupama, thank you for taking your time
Hi.
in joining today, and uh, we can start the session in another 2 minutes. So hello everyone, thank you everyone for joining today. We will be starting the session in another 2 minutes. So if anyone wants to join remind their friends, then please do so. And yeah, I think uh, it will be a good session for everyone, and so make sure that your friends also join this session. So do remind them that we are starting this session. So Anupama, it's 10, so I think we can start the session. And let me just introduce you. So, hello everyone. Welcome to this session on how to get started with Microsoft Fabric. Today we have with us Anupama. She is a chief data officer at Gozil, and she is also a Microsoft certified trainer. And she will be helping us in getting to know more about Microsoft Fabric and development. So. I hope you all will be having a great learning experience today. So welcome Anupama, welcome everyone, welcome
Thanks,
to the session.
Chaitanya. Great. Thanks, Chaitanya. And welcome everyone for the session. I think, I don't know whether this is the first session in the new year, Chaitanya,
Uh, no, this is not the first session. We do had a few sessions,
but
but yeah,
definitely first session for me. So happy new year to everyone. And this is my first talk for 2024. So I'm really excited about that. And today we are going to talk about how to get started with Microsoft Fabric. So Fabric has been an interesting, what do you say, like it has been an interesting product, and it has been in preview for quite some time, I would say a year. And last I think in November they made Fabric GA. And so everyone is quite excited about Fabric, and everyone wants to learn more about Fabric, what it can offer, and so on. So that's why I thought like this would be a good topic to start with, because even if you haven't heard about Fabric, it doesn't matter. This is a good opportunity for you to just get in your way around learning about Fabric. What is this all about? Why there is a huge buzz around Fabric, and so on. So I'm Anupama Natarajan, and thanks for a good introduction, Chaitanya. Like I'm a chief data officer for Gozil. So Gozil, we are a data analytics company, and we pretty much work on a lot of data and analytics related projects. And I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and a Microsoft MVP for AI and data platform. So I've been working in IT for almost 20 plus years. Start in a variety of roles. Of course, I started as a developer, and then pretty much in the last decade or so, my focus has been more in the data and analytics space. So if you have any questions post this session, feel free to reach out to me, and I have got my email address and the details in here. So feel free to reach out to me. Sorry, just a small thing. You need to type my full name in here. So that's my email address. So just in case, if you have to reach out to me, feel free to reach out to me through that email address. Or of course, I'm available on LinkedIn. So I think I got that right. So sorry, I think they couple of days before they were setting up some aliases. So I think they have now set that up. So you can reach out to me just with anupama@gozil.com. So coming back on to that, so if you have any questions, as I said, feel free to reach out to me. And also, like I have got a couple of blogs, and the links are available in here. And so in one of the blog, I write about Fabric. So basically, if you want to learn about Fabric, I have got a list of Fabric lessons. So it is in a style of lesson by lesson. You can get to learn about Fabric, and I will walk you through that URL towards the end of the session. So what are we going to look at as part of today's session? So we are going to start with a good understanding about what does Microsoft Fabric really mean. What are the different components that are involved with Fabric? Some of the terminologies, like because this is always what we call it as the jargons, right? So someone will be using a terminology when you talk about Fabric. It is good to know what those terminologies are and what it really mean. We will look at Fabric licensing model. So when you talk to people, the first question, especially with clients that comes along, is what is the licensing model we need to have? We have already got Power BI. Where does Fabric fits in? So you have a lot of questions in there. So you will get to know about some introduction about the licensing. So I'm not a licensing expert, and also, as you know, Fabric is in the early days, so there may be changes coming through in the licensing based on feedback from the customers and so on. So my recommendation is understand the licensing model, but before you give any recommendations to your customers, always check whether anything got changed recently on the Fabric website before you go and give that as a suggestion for them. Or you can even point to a local Microsoft representative who will be able to give them the up-to-date information about licenses. Following that, we are going to talk about these things about OneLake. So OneLake is something, again, a terminology that you would have been hearing about Fabric and also Lakehouse. And what is the difference between OneLake and Lakehouse? And with that, I think we will be wrapping up today's session. The reason for that is Fabric is a wider topic. So if you talk about like the blog post I'm writing, I'm writing up to close to 100 blog posts, like the articles to write. I'm halfway in that. But the depth of the amount of information that you need to learn about Fabric is huge, and that's what I'm trying to highlight. Yeah, go ahead, Chaitanya. Okay,
so yeah, 20 blog posts is really nice, I think. Yeah.
so there
So
are
that's,
like 100 article blog post I'm going to write, and I think I'm halfway in that. So you have almost close to 50 at this
yeah,
moment, I will say. So the
yeah.
reason I'm just saying is like because I chunked this into individual lessons, so you can read through each lesson so you can understand. And also there is a quiz in each and every blog post, so you will be able to participate also. So I'll share that links towards the end of this session. And also some useful references. There is a Fabric session that is going to be organized, and this is from Microsoft Learn. This is like a lot of MVPs who are going to present on Microsoft Fabric. They are going to present the Learn articles, and it will be a good way for you to learn and get exposure about Microsoft Fabric. I'll share that link also towards the end of the session. Cool. So let us get started with Microsoft Fabric. So we are going to start with what this Fabric really means. So Microsoft Fabric is an all-in-one analytical solution. So when we talk about all-in-one analytical solution, like a lot of organizations, they want to build warehouses, they want to build, they have to have data marts, they want to have data lakes, they have to build real-time analytics, batch processing analytics, they have to run reports, they have to do machine learning. So as you can see, there is a variety of things when it comes to data and analytics these days that you can do. So what you really need for an organization is a complete set of tools that they require in order to do their work efficiently, right? And that's where Fabric comes into the picture. So previously you have to stitch in a lot of the services from different vendors in order to just come up with a data analytical solution. With Fabric, you don't need to do that, because what you will be getting as part of Fabric is a highly integrated, end-to-end, easy to use product. So if you are thinking about data and analytics platform, Fabric is your way to go for the future. And this particular platform, which Microsoft have built, is based on a SaaS model, so which is software as a service, which is going to take simplicity to a new level, because you don't need to worry about, oh, I have to provision data lake, I have to provision this. Not to worry about individual services. It will all be taken care. You come to Fabric, you provision what you want, and it will be taken care. So if I want to explain this in a nutshell, what Fabric is, Fabric basically brings together all the new and existing components the likes of Power BI, Synapse, Data Factory, all in a single integrated environment. And this is what the crux of Fabric is all about. They took the existing components, put that into Fabric. They also built some new components, added to the mix, and that brought what we have got as Fabric as a single SaaS solution in the Microsoft stack. So when we talk about the components of Fabric, so what Fabric basically offers. So we said like we are a lot of components that we are integrated together. So we give the best tools for the organizations to use. What are those tools that Microsoft is offering when it comes to Fabric? So one thing Microsoft was clear was with Fabric, they want to meet the end-to-end analytical needs for the business users. So when you take from a data engineering perspective, so when we talk about data engineering, so these are data engineers who will be working on with collating the data, bringing in like writing notebooks to orchestrate the data, schedule the loads, making sure like we have got the right data in available in order to do the subsequent processes like data science or data warehousing. So the data engineering experience in Fabric, it's basically like it uses the Spark platform and it provides a large scale data transformation capability within Fabric itself. Along with that, they also brought in the data factory capability, because one way, if you look at data engineers, what they would like to do is they want to do all the transformations and everything using notebooks. So some people prefer to write code in Python and they want to do all the transformations with the help of Python. But then you have a different set of users who would like to use the graphical user interfaces. So suppose if I want to move the data from a blob storage into Azure SQL database or Azure Synapse Analytics, basically what I need the ability is, can I use connectors? So I need a source, I have a destination, and I will create a pipeline to move the data from the source to the destination. And that's what Data Factory can really provide you. So that is also available within the Fabric interface. So when we talk about a Fabric, we are talking here about data engineering, where people can use notebooks, or Data Factory, where you can use the power of the graphical user interface and the connectors that are available to connect to different sources on premises as well as on the cloud. Then you have the data science. So the data science, what it allows you to do is to build, deploy, and operationalize the machine learning models for within your Fabric experience. So for instance, like if I want to, while I'm doing the transformation, I want to just like enhance the data or enrich the data with machine learning capability, I'll be able to do that with the data science module in that. So this is mainly used for the data scientists, so that they can start integrating their machine learning models in order to get some predictive insights out of that data. Data warehouse, and I don't need to explain about that. So every one of you would have worked in a data warehouse in one form or the other. So Fabric also provides data warehouse capability. So similar to all the other data warehouse technologies that we had with the Microsoft stack, Fabric also has got it's separated compute from storage, which means if you want to scale the compute, you will be able to do that. Or if you want to increase the storage, you will be able to do that independently. So, and also like it is going to store the data in open data lake format. I will talk about that shortly when we talk about lake houses. So what is this open delta lake format really is all about? Then comes in real-time analytics. So when we talk about analytical platforms, like a lot of organizations not only do batch-based analytics, they also do real-time analytics. So this is like I may have some real-time IoT data coming through, and I want to immediately get to see that in the dashboard. So to give you an example, like in a real world scenario, so I was working as a data architect for a trading company, oh sorry, energy company, and they were doing trading. So when I say energy company, they are the power company who provide the power for residential and commercial buildings, residential houses and commercial buildings. And so this particular like organization, they had the requirement where they do real-time trading. So why do they need real-time trading? They used to have a lot of residential and commercial customers, and they have their own way of generating power. But unfortunately, sometimes they may need to, if there is a demand, they may need additional power to serve their existing customers, right? So they normally, there will be other power companies who will have power in surplus during that time. They may trade in the power. So they may sell the power, and this particular company, they can buy the power, and vice versa. And vice versa, where the same energy company I was working with, when they have surplus power, they can also sell the power, and the other power companies who have a demand, they can just buy the power. So the point I'm trying to highlight is this is what we call it as a real-time trading in the electricity or sector or the energy sector. And what they need to do is, like, during the real-time trading, they get the market prices. So when we talk about market prices, we are talking here about, if I want to sell the power at this time of the day, what is the price for that? So what is the price I can, the market is set, so setting it up, because you need to be fair, right? So they have this particular centralized organization who set the prices, and because you don't want to go too high or too low, so there will be a nominal set of price that will allow others to buy, as well as you can gain a profit by selling the power. So this happens in real time. So they you get file prices at the 5-minute interval as well as a 30-minute interval. So this is what we call it as a real-time trading in the electricity sector or the energy sector. And they need analytics for that. So they have dashboards, they have got pricing coming through like every 5 minutes. So they want to immediately see the projection of how is, if I continuously, like, if this is what the rate is going to be for the next hour or 2 hours or so, how much money, a profit I can make if I sell the power, or is it the right time to sell the power, and what is our demand currently, whether we may get into a situation where we have to pay higher price, or is it worthwhile to secure the what we have got to serve our customers. So they have to make a lot of decisions in real time, and that's what we call it as a real-time analytics, and Fabric has got the capability to support that. So you can get the data from streaming devices or IoT devices, and then you can just push it directly to Power BI dashboards, all running in within the Fabric environment itself. So we talked about real-time analytics, and of course, as part of that, I touched on Power BI. So Power BI is the analytics tool within the Microsoft stack that we use, and we have been using Power BI independently, but now Power BI is integrated within Fabric. So if you have to use an end-to-end analytics platform, which has got the reporting and analytics capability, Power BI will be able to do that. And last but not the least, we have got one more component, which is the data activator. So when we talk about data activator, this is basically like a no-code solution, which looks for any anomaly data that you have got, or any data changes for any specific patterns that you want to monitor. It can trigger and let you know, like, okay, so I'm noticing something abnormal with the data. So this can, when this type of scenario happens within your data, you can send alerts. And so we don't need to write complicated code, and the data activator will help you to do that. And this is a no code solution. So that is the important part. So if you take Fabric and all these components, one picture that you can paint immediately in your mind is the ability for Fabric to do the end-to-end analytics, right? Starting from collating the data, storing the data, enriching the data with the machine learning capabilities. It can do real-time analytics also. It can publish the data using Power BI dashboard. And last but not the least, any anomalies within your data, it can be identified and alerted using the data activator. So let us look at the different, we look at the components, but we will look at the terminologies. When we talk about Fabric, people will be using these type of terminology. So it is good to understand what does it really mean about. So the first one is tenant. So when we talk about tenant in Fabric, basically we are referring to the one unique setup of the platform designed for an organization. So if I take my company GoZeal, and if we have a tenant for GoZeal, basically we have an instance of Fabric running for our organization. And this particular tenant will be closely connected to Azure Active Directory, which in turn takes care of managing the users as well as permissions, which is your authentication and authorization. Then comes your workspace. So workspace is a place where you will be creating a collection of items like reports, data warehouses, lake houses. So this is an environment where you will design it for collaboration purposes. And also if you want to control saying who gets access to what, sometimes you create workspaces, different workspaces, and you manage the access control through that. Then comes your terminology called capacity. So capacity is basically that is something that is available in each tenant. So each capacity is linked to a particular tenant, and it has represent a separate set of resources dedicated to Microsoft Fabric. So for instance, the capacity size will dictate like what level of computing power that is needed for your Fabric environment. Then you have the experience. So experience is like the collection of capabilities for a specific functionality. So for instance, if you take data engineering or data factory, what are the things basically you can do for that? So that's what you will be getting as part of that. And then you have got the item. So this item is basically the individual capability that you can get, so or individual capability that you can get out of those experiences. So for instance, report is an item, then you may have a warehouse is an item, and so on. So that's what we talk about item. So these are some of the terminologies that when people talk about tenant, workspace, or Fabric workspace, I know it will have a collection of items such as report, data warehouse. Item means someone is talking about a report or a data warehouse or a lake house. So you can have that conversation much more freely if you understand these terminologies. So moving on from that is understanding the licensing model with Fabric. So Fabric comes in, licensing model comes into multiple fashion. So if you look at it here, if you are a Power BI Pro user, then basically like you can just go ahead and use the Pro license. And so you will have the Power BI supported experience only. Then you have premium per user. So if you are a existing premium per user, and then you will get a Power BI premium per user capability. So then moving on from that, if you have a premium per capacity capability, again, this is a Power BI capacity capability, you will have the same experience with the Power BI interface. I'll show you shortly like so one of the thing with the premium per capacity is like now it will have all the Fabric experiences, because when you buy it at a capacity level, it will include both the Fabric as well as the Power BI experiences. When I show you a demo, I will show you like how Fabric works along with the Power BI interfaces. Then you have got embedded. So this is mainly for Power BI. So if you want to embed a dashboard into your application, mainly it will be used by ISVs, independent software vendors. So you can use the embedded SKUs for that. And again, that is more a Power BI capability. Then for Fabric, you have the Fabric capacity, which is the FSKUs, and this will include all the Fabric experiences. So all the things that we talked about, the components, right? The data engineering, the data science, the like the Power BI within the data factory. So all those experiences are included in the all Fabric experiences bucket. So this is available at the Fabric capacity level or even at the premium per capacity level. So how about us? Like we want to, you attend my session and tomorrow you would like to get a hands-on Fabric, right? So what is the option that Microsoft have provided for people like us where we want to learn about Fabric, get familiarized with Fabric, and then when we get into an organization to start get our hands dirty with Fabric, we know how to do things. That's where the trial version is available for. So you can try and experience all the Fabric features for 60 days trial version. So Microsoft have given that version. So what you can do is after this particular session, you can go and sign up for your free Fabric trial and you can start using it. So we talked about the Fabric has got the capacity licenses, right? So when it comes to capacity licenses, you will be able to use some sort of capacity in terms of the infrastructure. So you have the SKUs like F2, F4, F8, which means like if you start looking at it, it will have some sort of like a vCores, like how many vCores you have got for the particular infrastructure. So the higher that you go, the higher, better the performance is going to be. But you don't need to go with big sizes to start with. Depending on the workload that you are, gradually you can just scale up if you need it. So, but that shows you like what you get and what are the maximum sizes that you can go, where you can start from the SKU perspective all the way how far you can go. So just in case people are new to the terminology of SKU, SKU stands for stock keeping units. And these are the terminology that we use within. So I need a F2 SKU for my Fabric or a F8 SKU for my Fabric. That's what you will be doing. So this is the individual SKU versions. What it gives you is the specific level of resources of Microsoft Fabric. And also like Fabric gives you for these SKUs, you can either go for a reservation or you can use a pay as you go. So just in case if you're not sure about what is the difference between that, pay as you go is good for organizations where they know like they may use it for a short term, but they don't know the longevity of using Fabric. Whereas a lot of enterprises, once they get into Fabric, they say like, okay, we have decided Fabric is your platform. For the next year or 3 years, we will be using Fabric. If that is the case, if they go for a capacity, if they go for a reservation based capacity, then what they get is the advantages, like for instance, like you will get a discount in the pricing. With pay as you go, there is no discount. You will pay for the usage that you are doing. So that's the difference between that, and they are available, both are available for the SKUs that are listed in here. So with the pay per user license that you are getting, so you will be able to access the Fabric web application. You can create Fabric workspaces, and also like you can do various other things when it comes to the Power BI related things. But if you want to get a full-fledged version of Fabric to get hands dirty, I think your Fabric like capacity model or the free licenses is your way to go. Cool. So we have been talking a lot about in terms of theory. So let us quickly look at how does this Fabric interface really looks like. So what I'm going to quickly do is just give me a sec. I'll bring my Fabric interface. Okay, so this is you feel like it looks like a Power BI service portal, right? So this is looks like a Power BI service portal, and of course, yes, it is. So this is when I go to app.powerbi.com, I can basically jump onto the Power BI, my Power BI portal. One of the option I have got in here is I have the ability to start the trial. So because I started the trial to showcase it to you, so it says the trial status, but I have a slide which quickly shows you how it was. So if you look at it here, initially it said start a trial. So if you have an existing Power BI portal, you can go ahead and click on start trial. And then what it can do is basically it will just to show this message to say, do you want to upgrade to a free Microsoft Fabric trial? You can just say, yes, I want to start the trial. And once you do that, you will get to see the screen. This one, what I'm showing, and it tells you like what is the trial status in there. Cool. So, and if you want to buy Fabric, you can go ahead and buy Fabric for your organization, or you can just do that. But then the question is like, okay, Anupama, you talked about all these components like the data engineering, the data science. I don't get to see anything. What I get to see is just Power BI. That's because we are looking at the Power BI part of the Fabric interface. So right at the bottom corner here, you can click on As you can see, you can see all the different things I was talking about: data engineering, data science, data warehouse, real-time analytics, data activator, data factory, the Power BI. So if I go into my data engineering, so there you go. So here now you are in the Fabric interface still, and all the components within Fabric, they are available in here. So here you can see your lakehouse, you can see your notebooks that you want to create. And so I have my OneLake hub. We'll be shortly talking about what OneLake is all about. And yeah, so pretty much anything that you want to do with the data engineering. Same thing if I want to go with data factory. So I can start working with data factory straight from here. So I can create a data pipeline, or I can just go and start with a data flow Gen 2 straight from this workspace. So from a data science perspective, so as you can see, as I change the different component, the interface is changing to show the capabilities that are available in each and every component, like the ML model, the experiments, and things that I can do in relation to data science. So Power BI, we saw data warehouse. As you can see, we can set up a warehouse in here. And then also you can set up a pipeline to pump the data into the warehouse. We also talked about the data activator, right? So data activator will allow you to find anomalies in your data, and you can trigger any data alerts when you notice any sort of anomalies like that. And that's where really it is handy for. And of course, like it is not about detecting the anomalies, you can also trigger alerts based on that. So normally, if you want to do this, you have to go and write custom code, and which is what is available as a component itself within Microsoft Fabric. And here is my real-time analytics. So one of the thing you are seeing here is KQL database. KQL stands for Custom Query Language. So when you are dealing with real-time analytics, and especially like a lot of data will go into there, so you need a query language in order to query that. KQL has got syntax similar to SQL. It's not same as SQL, but it has a syntax similar to SQL, but it is really straightforward to learn. And also Microsoft have got good learn materials where they have given a good comparison, like, okay, if you write a select statement like this, how to write the equivalent in KQL. So pretty straightforward. And if I'm a person who has been working in SQL for 20 years, and KQL didn't take much time to pick up. So you don't need 20 years. What I'm saying is if you're well versed in SQL, it's pretty straightforward. Like you can pick up KQL without any issues. So that is used as a query language in the real-time analytics for your Microsoft within the Microsoft Fabric environment. And of course, last but not the least is your Power BI, which we saw. So typical, all the workspaces, all the things that I normally used to do in Power BI, it's all available within the Fabric interface itself. So as you can see here, anyone who wants to do or work on end-to-end data lifecycle, they can pretty much use Fabric as a platform in order to perform everything that they require, starting from getting the data all the way from publishing the reports and dashboards, including alerting and monitoring. That capability that is also available here. So pretty straightforward, and you can navigate through that through the different components by going through here. There is also a good blog post I have put in terms of like how do you get started with Fabric, and how do you enroll for like if you have an existing Power BI, I showed you how to do that. But if you don't have a Power BI service account and you have to start Fabric from scratch, you have a mechanism to do that also. So let me quickly jump on and showcase the material, and the links are available in the slide, which I will share shortly. Cool. Just give me a sec. So you will be able to get into Fabric sessions directly. So this are the Fabric lessons I'm talking to write about. So there are quite a few which is all still in draft, which I have to publish. But as you can see here, it gives you an idea around what are the different topics I'm actually going to talk about, and you will be having a few more things. In once I complete this, you will get to see a few more examples around how do I do things, like not only just concepts but also like a real world scenarios on how you be using Fabric. So here it talks about every single thing that I was talking here around understanding what Fabric is. And just to quickly open and lesson. So you can go through the lesson, read through what Fabric is all about. And the other thing is also like if you are using, if you want to know exactly, oh, I need to learn about this topic, which Microsoft Learn module that I can refer to, it will refer you to the different MS Learn modules. And along with that, like any other useful links that gives you additional information. And you also have a little quiz. So if I just put that in here. So as you can see, once you learn this, you can participate in this quiz and you can see like which one is the correct answer and basically like what you get out of that. So it's one way of validating what you have learned. So you will get to see that for each and every lesson like that. And when we talk about getting started with Microsoft Fabric, so I'll just quickly show you that article. So here you will get to learn about if you are an existing Power BI user, as I told, you will navigate to app.powerbi.com and then you can get started with a free trial as I indicated in my PowerPoint slide. If you are a non-Power BI user, basically you can sign up for a free Power BI license. And then once you have got a Power BI login, you can use the Microsoft Fabric. It's no longer a preview. When I wrote that, it was in preview. So now you can kickstart the trial and then you will be able to get to see this interface where you will able to start doing things in Fabric. So this particular interface, we can also reach out. So for instance, here we saw navigation, right? So in the URL, like if I change the experience to Fabric, I'll be able to see this view. This is the Fabric view of the world. So you get a Power BI view of the world from where you can access the Fabric components, or if you want a Fabric view of the world, here it is, and you will be able to just experience the Fabric. So you can either go through that URL or even app.fabric.microsoft.com, and then you can sign up, you can start the free trial in there, and you will be able to just get into the Fabric homepage. Cool. So hope that is clear. And yeah, so if you want to learn a bit more about Fabric rather than just the introduction, this is the blog link I will share and you can learn a bit more about Fabric. So moving on from that, I want to introduce you a couple of concepts. So as I said, Fabric is a depth topic and I won't be able to cover everything in the introduction, but I picked up these two concepts because they are important to understand as part of the basics. So I'll just talk about OneLake and lake houses today, and probably in a future session that we will go further. I'll cover further other topics in relation to Fabric. So OneLake. So OneLake is basically the future of data management. Sorry, I'll just keep that in here itself. So when we talk about the future of data management, OneLake is actually a thing that was introduced by Microsoft, which is a game-changing solution. So within the Fabric system, Microsoft created OneLake. Think about in the world of Microsoft, they refer OneLake as a OneDrive for data. So what is OneDrive used for? So this is a cloud SaaS-based drive storage where you can store everything, right? Similarly, for data, OneDrive, like OneLake is basically a central storage hub where it can store all the different data and the workloads associated with that. So if you think about OneLake, it is a powerful hub for all the organization's data. So all your data flows, everything will be available in one particular OneLake instead of having many data lakes. Because if you look at the current scenario, every organization, if you go and ask what data lakes they have got, they have different set of data lakes. And I think Microsoft Fabric has simplified that into a OneLake. And this is mainly because when you have a single hub of all your data, sharing and collaborating with the data is going to be much more easier. And that is the reason for having a centralized data hub. So what OneLake provides for all the Fabric users is a centralized data hub. So where you can put all your data in there. So if you're looking for a data lake, put everything in OneLake and it will be a central repository of all your data. And OneLake also has got an efficient data storage. So the OneLake it guarantees a consolidated data repository. So what it really means is like it does like you don't need to copy and paste the same data in multiple places. If the data is already available in OneLake, which is your centralized repository, you can start utilizing it for various analytical needs. So what are the key features of OneLake? So the first and foremost is we don't need to provision anything on OneLake. So if you provision Fabric, it is automatically going to provision you a OneLake. So you don't need to worry about any overhead of any setup or anything in relation to OneLake. And by default, it is governed with the distributed ownership. So you can easily like set up in terms of like the ownership around the different parts of the OneLake so that you can have a distributed ownership rather than having just one person as a gatekeeper. And workspace flexibility. So you can have multiple workspaces within the tenant and they can all access the OneLake and they can be tied to a specific region and they can also be built separately. And that is really handy because like it's not that you are limited like with one workspace, you can have multiple workspaces for the data on OneLake. And also like it is open. So when I say open, like it is built on the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So it can support any file type. So you can store any files in the OneLake, and it also leverages the Delta Parquet format. And that's what is being used even with integration. So if you are using Azure Databricks, right, you will have a seamless integration with the OneLake. And also you can access the data from OneLake with the help of like Gen 2 API, ADLS Gen 2 APIs, SDKs, and it is going to be a smooth transition because one of the thing a lot of organization will be thinking is like, oh, we are already using Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 as a data lake for all our data. How do we do that how do we get that into OneLake? It is going to be a seamless transition for you. So you can use those um, APIs and SDKs, and you can easily transition your data from ADLS Gen 2 into OneLake. So I've been banging on about this component around OneLake. So what is the main advantage of getting OneLake? First thing is like unified data management. So you will eliminate the need for multiple data lakes. Instead, you will have a central repository of your data lake. The next thing is OneLake is going to break the silos because a lot of people will be putting the same data into their data lake multiple times. You can avoid that with the help of OneLake. And what you can do is like you can break down the data silos and create a single platform where the data can be easily shared and managed without any isolation. It enables data collaboration because when you have all the data in one place, it is going to enhance the data collaboration. You'll get scalability and adaptability. So you will be able to accommodate changes and add new data elements as the organization evolves. So if you want to scale and you want to have the OneLake to adapt to that, it will be able to do that. And last but not the least is like you can use one copy of the data across multiple analytical engines. So which means you can avoid redundancy, right? So duplication of data, if you can avoid much, that itself is a big headache that you can solve for an organization. So that is the main idea of OneLake. So what is this? Another terminology in Fabric that we keep hearing about is the lake house. So in Fabric that you can create what we call it as a lake house. So let us quickly look at what a lake house is. With Microsoft Fabric, the lake house is actually built on the foundation of OneLake. So the difference between OneLake and Fabric is OneLake and Fabric lake houses Fabric Lakehouse is built on top of one lake. So basically what it means is you create a lake house so that you can store like a data warehouse, like where you can store structured data as well as unstructured data. So Lakehouse is a combination of a data lake plus warehouse where it has unstructured data. So there is a lot of requirements these days with organizations where they have to analyze both structured and unstructured data. They will be using transactional systems for structured data, and for unstructured data like a social media platform data or website logs, they don't have the capability because they will be either dump in ADLS and stuff. But now they can create a lake house and they can hold both the data like structured and unstructured in one place. And also, as I said, you can create multiple lake houses, and I will show you shortly how that really works. The another thing is about the lake house is the lake house supports you can implement Medallion architecture. So if you're not introduced about Medallion architecture, basically like you can have the data going through the different layers like bronze layer, silver layer, gold layer. So raw data, it goes in the bronze layer. Then you have silver layer where you will enrich the data. And finally, the gold layer is where it has got all the reference linked with all the references and things, more or less like a facts and dimensions. Pretty much this is the gold layer is the layer will be exposed for your analytical engine. So implementing Lakehouse using Medallion architecture itself is a session of its own. And at some time in the future, I will definitely walk you through that, like how can you implement Medallion architecture within Microsoft Fabric. And keep in mind, Medallion architecture is a generic architecture, not specific to just Fabric. You can implement this in Databricks, in Azure Databricks, in Snowflake, or any other analytical platforms. But here I'm saying like if you want to implement Medallion architecture within the Fabric Lakehouse, you will be able to quite easily do that. So now you thoroughly understand the difference between the Fabric Lakehouse and One Lake, right? So let me put that into perspective. Like if you want to look at the differences between One Lake versus the Fabric Lakehouse. So here, if you look at, so with One Lake, you will be able to, within the One Lake, you will be able to have different lake houses in various workspaces. So for instance, like you may have a One Lake as a total, but then you will be having sales, marketing, and then you will have the workspace within different workspaces within sales. So as you can see, One Lake can have lake houses. Within lake houses, you can have like you can have workspaces and you can have lake houses within each of those workspace, and they all sit, one of the thing if you notice it, they're all sitting in the same physical one lake, and each lake house can have its own artifact. The data will be in its there, and even though the data will be part of the lake house, it will be logically it will be available only at the logical level because it will be actually residing in one lake. So think about one lake will have all the data, and the logical references of the data will be available in your lake houses. And then because you have that in different workspaces, you can manage the distributed ownership and everything through that in here. So the key advantage of the lake houses is like it uses the Delta Lake architecture, and that's why it is quite. And if you look at Databricks, they also come under the Delta Lake architecture. And one of the thing Microsoft why they went for Fabric is they wanted to make it open, because a lot of organizations they were worried about whether they got locked in with one particular vendor like Microsoft, saying like, oh, okay, so if we put all our data in here. If you want to move the data, is it going to be easier for us to move the data or not? When you put the data in one lake, it is going to be pretty straightforward. So here, what you get here is like a when you have the data in one lake, it is in open format. So you can easily take the data, and if you want to put it into Databricks, you can do that. Or if you want to bring the Databricks data inside the Fabric One Lake, you can seamlessly do that. And that is one of the thing because they use the open format. And so that's what is being encouraged these days with a lot of analytical and platforms. is around like having an open like standard of storing the data, which means like you can easily swap them and move them from one platform to another platform without much hassle. So that's another important concept that you have to understand between your OneLake as well as the Lakehouse. So the next I'm going to showcase is about just the OneLake, just to show you an example. So here you will be able to see like you have got multiple um, things like Azure and AWS. Sorry, in AWS, that's right. And also like I need to give. So this is not my diagram. So the actual privilege goes to my the advanced analytics people. So they had this really nice diagram and which I really liked, and that's what I wanted to showcase. So advanced analytics people, they really do a lot of work around the Microsoft Fabric, and they have produced these two diagrams, this one and this one. And it was really handy to showcase like how easy to explain the concepts of OneLake as well as the Lakehouse. And if you think about OneLake, this is when we say it's a single unified platform, that is a storage platform that is available within Microsoft Fabric. And if you notice here, you can pull data from the different sources. So you can have data sitting from an Azure platform, data sitting on AWS platform, bring everything together, put it in OneLake, and start building your data like your Fabric lake houses. And then you can start expanding that further. Because then from the lake houses, you can start building your warehouses, and then you can have machine learning capability added to that, then start building your Power BI reports and analytics in there. And also the medallion architecture, which I was talking about, you can easily implement that without any issues. Cool. So I think that pretty much, I don't want to dump too much information on you on this particular one, especially if you are new to Microsoft Fabric. And as I mentioned, get your hands dirty with Microsoft Fabric. There is a trial version available for 60 days. So if you go and sign up now, you have 60 days. And also like here is the link where you can learn about the Fabric lessons that I was talking about. So you have each and every lesson and also the quiz, and there are some hands-on things that are coming in the lessons itself. So the initial topics will be introductory, but once you start getting it, it will tell you how to create a OneLake, how can you create a lake house through those lessons, and you can practice that. And also this is the Microsoft documentation where you want to know anything about Microsoft Fabric, that is the go-to place. So there is a series of videos which Microsoft have produced in relation to Microsoft Fabric. So they ran a webinar, and this is a collection of videos available as part of the webinar series. The interesting part of this particular one, let me quickly show you why I have got that in here. So let me get that link. Okay, let me get that link in here. So here, if you look at it, like this is like a quite lengthy video. So where you can see how can I do data engineering, data science, and data warehousing, real-time analytics, data integration, as well as Power BI. So if you are using Power BI, like what is it going to look like if you are going into Fabric? So you will get to see like 1 hour sessions on this videos. So really handy ones if you want to get started with Fabric. And this is the other link which I was talking about, learning Fabric together. So the MVPs from Microsoft, we are getting together and we are going to talk about Fabric. So if you are interested, this is going to start from next week. And there are 9 episodes that are going to be delivered both in India and US time zones. And if you look at here, you can register. And so you have each learn module, and this will be clearly explained by the MVPs. And then also along with some demonstration, and then you'll be able to do that. So here you can see how do you get started with that. So it's from 23rd of January it is starting, and you can see lake houses, how to use Apache Spark with Microsoft Fabric, and all the different concepts. So data factory. Yeah, so if you are interested, you can register for all these episodes and you will be able to do that. And last but not the least is DP 600 exam. So on January 11 this year, I think the Fabric, that is a Microsoft certification for Fabric has been announced. Currently, it is in beta. So it is DP 600. This is implementing analytic solutions using Microsoft Fabric. So once you get started learning about Fabric, and then you will be able to just take up the certification, and you can also get certified as the Fabric associate. So just make sure that if you are prepared for that, don't forget to take up the certification also, because that is going to give you much more exposure and opportunities to learn about Fabric. So with that note, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in today's session. So quick introduction about Fabric, and yeah, go and sign up for the trial and start following either the Microsoft Docs or the Fabric lessons link I have provided, or don't forget to join those webinars from next week. That will help you to get to learn. So instead of going and sometimes it's really hard. There are too many learn modules for you to go and read it individually and doing things. So this will be like MVPs will be demonstrating it to make it easy. So you can attend each session, and then you can go and practice the lab in that particular module, and you can easily finish it off quickly. So quicker way of learning. And then don't forget the DP 600 exam. I'm happy to take up any questions for now. I saw a lot of things coming in the chat around asking for the links and things. So post this session, I'll share my slide pack with Chaitanya, and you will have all the links as part of the references section.
So if you have any questions, feel free to ask Anupama right now, and yeah, she will be happy to answer all your questions. So
That's right. I
make sure,
think
yeah,
everyone is
make
keen on that. So I'll just put some links in the chat already. And also I'll send you the PowerPoint.
also do mention how was the session, and yeah, so I hope you all had a great learning experience.
And of course, thanks for the opportunity, because it's because I run a lot of user group sessions here. I know how hard it is to coordinate and organize a session. So thanks for all the volunteers like who is putting their time and organizing this session. Okay, let me put this in here. So I put the Fabric Learn Together link in there. So that is the one I talked about, the webinar next week. And the other URL I want to quickly share. Okay, so this is the Fabric videos. And the last one is I think you should be able to access my blog, and I'll just give the link directly to those lessons which I was pointing. So you will be able to just jump in there. Yeah, I'll be sharing the slide deck. So just to give me some time. So after this session, I'll be definitely sharing the slide deck, and it will be sent it to you. And
Yeah, we will be sharing the slide deck over the mail. So and I will be sharing a attendance form in just couple of minutes, and do fill out the attendance form. This will provide you certificates as well, certificate of participation for today's session, as well as the slide deck. So make sure you fill it, the attendance form.
That'll be great. And also, like, don't forget the DP 600 certification. So it is available right now as we speak. And if you want to take the beta exam, you can take the beta exam. So just keep that as a goal, like you have to achieve that certification, so you have to prepare with Fabric. And luckily, I think the date was really worked out very well. So next week that webinars are happening, and this week we are talking here about introduction to Fabric. So it's a good time that I was able to communicate and share the links with you.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you check out this certification exam and do try to get this certification.
Cool. Is
Yeah,
there any questions anyone has got? As I said, you can always reach out to me through my email or through my LinkedIn. I'm always open and available to answer questions. And yeah, just if you have any questions post this session, feel free to reach out to me. Great. That's it, Chaitanya. I think we are good to go.
yeah. So since there are no more questions, so I think we are good to go. Thank you so much, Anupama. Thank you for taking your time and guiding us about how to get started with Microsoft Fabric. I'm sure everyone had a great learning experience, and we look forward to have you in the in upcoming sessions as well. So thank you so much.
And thanks everyone for attending today's session. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm sharing the certificate link. Just give me a minute. Let me just copy it. So this is the attendance form. You have to fill it in order to get the certificates. We will be sharing the certificates soon. Uh, and make sure you fill this attendance form, and we will be sharing the slide deck over the mail as well. So this is the this is the attendance form. Please check out if you can access it. And thank you so much for joining today. We look forward to have you all in the upcoming session as well. So just fill the attendance form and see if you can access it, if there's no issue with the access part, and if you can fill it, just let me know once. I've shared the attendance form in the chat box, and please fill out this attendance form. Very date. Please don't share the email. We won't be able to send the certificates over the email if you don't fill the attendance form. Filling up the attendance form is mandatory. So make sure you fill it since you have attended the whole session. So make sure that you fill the attendance form. And yeah, thank you once again for joining. Just let me know if you can access the attendance form. Cool. So yeah, finally someone mentioned that they can access the attendance form. If you haven't joined our community, then make sure you join it. And I hope my screen is visible. This is the QR code. You can scan this QR code and join our community. And yeah, if we have a community over Discord, as well as we have a community over WhatsApp. So if you are not using Discord, then you can join the community over the WhatsApp. And yeah, this is the this is the QR code. So one QR code is for Discord and the other one is for the WhatsApp. So you can stay updated about our upcoming events. And yeah, make sure you join it. So you will get a certificate soon. and either it will be by today, by end of the day, or by tomorrow. Most probably by tomorrow you will get the certificates. Yeah, I can see you have started filling up the responses. Cool. So yeah, you will get the certificates soon. I mean, by tomorrow. And yeah, one more thing, recording for today's session will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to watch the recording, then you can watch it through our YouTube channel.